Imagine this. It's late at night. You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, your mind running in circles over the same relentless question. What if they come back? But beneath that question, a more haunting thought lurks in the silence. What if they don't? And there you are, waiting, hoping, dreading. The silence feels heavy, almost deafening, doesn't it? This, right here. This is the hardest part. You're left with nothing but memories, and the unsettling feeling that the other person might not feel the same emptiness gnawing at them. It's like they took a piece of your soul and vanished, leaving you stranded in the silence. I know you feel stuck, torn between wanting to reach out, desperate for some relief from the unknown, and the other part of you that knows better, that knows reaching out is giving away your power. It's here, in this silence, that your true strength is born, not in the easy days, but in these hard, dark moments. In this silence, you have a choice. You can let the emptiness consume you, or you can use it to transform into someone stronger, someone more resilient. Let's dive deep into the art of no contact. Let's use this silence to reclaim your power, to become unshakable, and to build a version of you that's not just waiting to be loved, but is worthy of admiration. Because let's face it, that's what you deserve. Now, staying strong in no contact isn't just about resisting the urge to reach out. It's not a game of silence for silence's sake. It's a test, a grueling journey that requires mental resilience, patience, and, yes, a little bit of psychological edge. But most importantly, it's about building an armor for your soul, an armor that will protect you, not just now, but whenever life throws challenges like this at you again. To survive this test, you'll need to understand the power of silence, not just in how it affects them, but how it molds you. We're about to look at some powerful principles grounded in Stoicism and dark psychology that will help you through this. These aren't tricks to manipulate anyone. They're tools for mastering your own mind. So, let's dig in. Let's go beyond the surface-level advice, beyond the empty platitudes. Let's harness this quiet, painful solitude as a crucible for your transformation. Are you ready? Are you ready to discover a power within yourself that you may have forgotten existed? To wake up each morning, not with a sense of dread, but with a sense of purpose. Then listen closely, because what I'm about to share with you will give you the strength to withstand this silence, and not just survive it, but thrive because of it. Let's break down the psychology of this no-contact period. What's actually happening beneath the surface? Why is silence so powerful? And why does it feel so intense, so unbearable for both people involved? You see, when we cut contact, it creates a void, a blank space that the human mind is wired to fill. Our minds crave closure, answers, and certainty. And when we don't get it, we go searching for it in any way possible. This lack of contact becomes a psychological trap, a maze of what-ifs that both parties begin to wander through, often without even realizing it. Why didn't they reach out? Do they even care? These questions don't just visit you, they begin to haunt you. And here's the key. This sense of mystery is powerful. Silence holds a kind of psychological grip because it leaves so much to the imagination. Both you and the other person are left in a state of uncertainty, and uncertainty is, strangely enough, magnetic. It keeps people hooked. By staying silent, you're creating a powerful psychological phenomenon known as intermittent reinforcement. This is where the other person starts to think of you in fragmented, unpredictable moments. They don't have constant access to you anymore. They can't predict your actions, and in that unpredictability, your presence becomes, ironically, even stronger in their mind. But there's more. In psychology, there's a term called cognitive dissonance. When we want something but can't have it, our minds struggle to reconcile the difference between what we desire and what's actually happening. And in no contact, you create that dissonance. You're forcing them to question why they can't just reach out, or why you're not available anymore. It becomes a puzzle, a curiosity that grows and nags at them. Now, it's natural to wonder, if they miss me, why haven't they reached out? But consider this, a person might feel the effects of no contact, even without consciously realizing it. Their mind starts associating you with mystery, perhaps even longing, but that doesn't necessarily mean they'll act on it right away. The desire lingers in the background, subtle yet persistent. So here you are, in this silence, thinking it's only hurting you. But the truth? That silence has its claws in them too. And here's something crucial to understand. In this period, it's not just about what they feel, it's about what you're becoming. No contact is, in a way, a psychological cleanse. You're stepping out of an emotional dependency and entering a phase of emotional independence. It's like stripping yourself of an addiction, no longer feeding on constant validation or attention. Yes, it's painful. It's supposed to be. But pain is a powerful teacher, and in the silence, you're learning more about yourself than you could in any conversation. This space of quiet is where true self-discovery happens, because it's only when the noise fades, when the conversations, the texts, the back and forth all disappear, that you're left alone with your own thoughts. And at first, that might feel unbearable. But over time, you'll come to see it differently. This solitude will become your training ground. It will reveal your fears, your insecurities, but also your strengths, your courage, and your untapped resilience. Now, let's think about the other person's experience for a moment. You've gone silent. They don't know where you are emotionally, and they're left to wonder. Humans have an uncanny ability to become fixated on things they don't understand. And by staying quiet, by not giving them answers, you're actually placing yourself in a powerful position in their mind. You've become an enigma, and enigmas are unforgettable. It's worth noting, too, that in this period, your silence may provoke a range of emotions in them: confusion, irritation, even a kind of frustration. And yes, they might convince themselves they're over it, or even that they don't care. But the truth is that silence doesn't fade easily. It lingers. It creates an itch in the back of their mind that over time becomes harder to ignore. The power of no contact is not in trying to hurt anyone or play games. It's in letting the silence do the work that words can't. It's in allowing both of you to sit with the absence, to confront the raw truth without distractions, without a way to sugarcoat it. And right now, you might think that they're moving on, that they're not feeling the effects like you are. But silence works in mysterious ways. Often, its impact is slow but steady, leaving a lasting impression that words rarely can. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to trust the process. Trust that this no-contact period isn't just affecting them. It's reshaping you. It's giving you a chance to reclaim your power, your independence, and most importantly, it's preparing you to see yourself in a new light, not as someone waiting, but as someone worth waiting for. Because in this silence, you're growing. You're shedding old patterns, learning to be whole again, and building resilience that will serve you far beyond this relationship. Now, let's talk about strength, the kind that doesn't come from the outside, but from deep within you. Strength rooted in your character, in your resilience. Stoic philosophy teaches us to endure, to be unmoved by external events that are beyond our control. And right now, that's exactly what you're being called to do. The Stoics believed that the only things we truly have control over are our own thoughts, our own actions, and our own responses. Everything else, it's out of our hands. And in this period of no contact, you'll need to hold on to this truth as if it's your lifeline. Because, let's face it, you don't have control over their thoughts, their actions, or whether they'll reach out. But you do have control over you. You have control over how you show up for yourself in this moment. Let's start with the Stoic principle of amor fati, or love of fate. Amor fati is the idea that everything that happens to us, every joy, every pain, every silence, is part of our path. It's meant to be embraced, not resisted. Imagine viewing this no-contact period, not as a curse or punishment, but as a necessary part of your journey, a part that is forging you, making you stronger. Amor fati asks us to stop fighting reality, to stop wishing things were different, and instead to say, yes, this is what's happening, and I will find a way to make it serve me. Think about that. What if, instead of resisting the silence, instead of obsessing over what you don't have right now, you embraced this as part of your fate? Imagine saying, I don't need their validation, their presence, or their words to be whole. This period is here to teach me something, and I choose to love it, even the pain of it. Next, let's consider the Stoic idea of indifference to externals. The Stoics teach that things outside of our control, like other people's actions, are externals. They're things we cannot change, so they don't deserve the power to disturb our peace. Right now, the thoughts that plague you, the urge to check your phone or scan social media for any sign of them, those are all externals. They're temptations trying to steal your peace. Imagine what it would feel like to truly let go of these externals. To say, yes, they're out there. Yes, they might be doing whatever they're doing. But that is not my concern. My concern is only myself, my growth, my strength. That's where true freedom lies, in detaching from these externals and focusing on what's within your control. Because the more you focus on what they're doing, the less power you give to what you're becoming. There's a strength in Stoicism that few understand, because it doesn't come from forcing others to act a certain way. It comes from knowing, deep down, that nothing they do or say can truly disturb your inner peace unless you allow it. You are choosing now to hold on to your power, to focus inward, to cultivate resilience rather than grasp at something that isn't meant for you to control. Let's talk about resilience for a moment. Stoicism teaches us that resilience isn't about denying our feelings. No, it's about acknowledging them, understanding them, but then letting them pass through us. It's about not letting them control us. Right now, the feelings you have, the sadness, the frustration, maybe even the anger, they're real, and it's okay to feel them. The Stoics would say, don't resist these feelings. Observe them. Feel them fully, but don't let them define you. They are temporary. They will fade if you let them. Picture each emotion as a wave passing through you. Instead of fighting against it, let it move over you. Let it flow, knowing that each wave eventually dissolves. This is resilience. Standing tall in the storm, knowing that no feeling, no matter how powerful, can overwhelm you forever. Another crucial Stoic principle that will serve you well here is the dichotomy of control. In No Contact, this concept is essential. The dichotomy of control tells us that there are things we can control and things we cannot. Your power lies in focusing entirely on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. Think about it. Can you control whether they're thinking about you? No. Can you control whether they'll reach out? Again, no. But you can control how you respond to each day, each hour, each minute of this no-contact period. You can control your thoughts, you can control your focus, and you can control the ways you choose to grow during this time. When you recognize what you cannot control, you start to free yourself from the mental chains that have kept you trapped in a cycle of worry. You stop checking your phone every minute. You stop waiting. And in that letting go, you find a kind of liberation that few people experience. Because in truth, the need to control something you can't is where most suffering begins. Embrace the dichotomy of control. Every time you feel that urge to reach out, to check, to break the silence, remind yourself, this is outside my control, and I do not need it to find peace. The only control you need is over yourself, over your reactions, over your thoughts. Now, you may be wondering, how do you actually practice this on a daily basis? Stoicism isn't just theory, it's a way of life. It's a daily commitment to choose strength over weakness, peace over chaos. Every time you feel that urge, that doubt creeping in, take a deep breath. Remind yourself of these principles. Say to yourself, this is part of my journey. I don't need anything external to be complete. I already have everything I need within me. And remember this, each day you choose silence. Each moment you resist the urge to reach out. You are building a fortress within yourself. This isn't just about getting through a breakup or a period of no contact. This is about becoming the kind of person who can weather any storm, who doesn't break at the first sign of discomfort. The Stoics believed that every hardship, every challenge, is an opportunity to grow stronger. And this no-contact period is your chance. Not to win someone back, not to prove a point, but to transform. To become someone who can stand alone, who doesn't need anyone to complete them. Because, in the end, true power isn't about controlling anyone else's actions. True power is about controlling yourself. It's about being able to look at this silence, this waiting, and saying, I can endure this, and I can come out of it better than before. So far, we've explored the power of silence and how Stoic principles can transform this no-contact period into a journey of resilience. Now, let's go deeper. Let's get into the darker, sharper edges of psychology, the techniques that will give you an edge not only over the situation, but over your own mind. Dark psychology is often misunderstood. It's not about manipulation or controlling others. Instead, it's about understanding the human psyche deeply enough to gain power over your emotions and reactions. It's about mastering your mind, fortifying yourself against weakness and uncertainty, and, in doing so, protecting your inner peace. Let's start with emotional detachment. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you learn to separate your emotions from your actions. When we're in the grip of strong emotions, especially the kind that no contact stirs up, our first impulse is often to act, to reach out, to seek relief from the tension. But true strength lies in resisting that impulse. Imagine you are standing on the edge of a cliff. Below you is a storm of emotion, anger, sadness, maybe even obsession. Emotional detachment is stepping back from that edge. It's saying, I see these emotions, I acknowledge them, but I will not let them control my actions. Emotions are temporary, actions have consequences, and by choosing to detach, you reclaim control over your responses, no longer a puppet to your own emotions. Here's a powerful technique. Reframe your perspective. Instead of seeing this no-contact period as something that's happening to you, see it as something you're choosing to experience. You're not just a passive participant in this silence. No, you are the one choosing it. This subtle shift in mindset puts you back in control. You're not waiting for them to respond or to feel something. You're choosing silence as a way to build your own strength. Each time you feel tempted to reach out, remind yourself that silence is not a reaction, it's an action. It's something you're doing, something you're in control of. It's a strategic choice, not a passive state. Reframing your mindset from waiting to choosing is like armor. It gives you strength against the pull of impulse. Now, let's talk about another dark psychology technique, reverse visualization. Traditional visualization teaches you to picture success, to imagine everything going exactly as you want. But reverse visualization is different. It's about preparing yourself mentally for the worst-case scenario, for what would happen if you never heard from them again. Imagine that silence is forever. Imagine that they move on, that they don't come back, that you're left to rebuild on your own. At first, this might feel painful, but let yourself go there, fully. Picture yourself in that reality, and then imagine yourself finding peace in it, thriving despite it. When you visualize the worst, and accept it, it loses its power over you. You are no longer afraid of losing something because, in your mind, you've already moved past it. This doesn't mean you're hoping for the worst. It means you're preparing yourself for any outcome. And when you reach this level of acceptance, you become truly unbreakable, because there's nothing they can do or not do that will shake your peace. Here's a third technique: cold empathy. This isn't about sympathy or understanding them from a place of emotion. Cold empathy is about seeing things objectively, understanding why they might act in certain ways, without letting it affect you emotionally. It's about recognizing their patterns, their behaviors, without attaching meaning to it. For example, if they don't reach out, cold empathy allows you to see it for what it is, without taking it as a personal rejection. It might simply mean they're struggling with their own issues, their own fears, or ego. By using cold empathy, you remove your emotional attachment to their actions. You see them as they are: human, flawed, unpredictable, without letting it impact your sense of self-worth. Cold empathy is a protective shield. It lets you observe without absorbing, keeping you safe from the emotional highs and lows that come from trying to interpret their silence. Remember, what they do or don't do is a reflection of them, not of you. Cold empathy helps you see that, to understand without needing to feel. Another technique I want you to understand is emotional mirroring. Emotional mirroring is the idea of reflecting within yourself the emotions you want them to feel. Think about it. If you're obsessing, waiting, checking your phone every minute, you're sending out an invisible energy of desperation, even if you're in no contact. But what if, instead, you practiced calm? What if you started to embody confidence, self-assuredness, and peace? Emotional mirroring means that you become the emotions you want others to feel about you. You're no longer hoping for their validation. Instead, you're validating yourself, giving off an energy of strength and self-worth. Over time, this energy impacts how you see yourself, and that self-assuredness becomes real, tangible. People are subconsciously drawn to energy that feels centered, grounded, and secure. When you embody that energy, you become magnetic, not because you're trying to be, but because confidence radiates naturally from within you. Now let's get into the power of indifference. This isn't indifference in the sense of being cold or uncaring. Instead, it's the kind of indifference that's rooted in self-respect. It's the ability to say, I care about myself enough to let go of anything that doesn't serve me. Indifference means you're no longer emotionally dependent on their attention, their presence, or their validation. You've detached emotionally, and you're not looking to them to complete you. Imagine what it would feel like to be completely indifferent to their actions, to no longer need them to make you feel whole. This isn't about closing off your heart. It's about opening it up to yourself. It's about respecting yourself enough to know that you are enough, just as you are. Indifference is freedom. It's no longer carrying the weight of expectation, no longer checking for signs or signals. And when you reach this state, you're truly unbreakable, because you're no longer bound by the need for someone else's response or approval. Remember, each of these techniques, emotional detachment, reverse visualization, cold empathy, emotional mirroring, and the power of indifference, are tools. They're not meant to make you heartless. They're meant to make you strong. They're here to help you reclaim your power and stand firm in your own worth. You have within you the ability to transcend this period of no contact, not by waiting or hoping, but by actively choosing to become someone stronger, someone more resilient. These dark psychology techniques, when used wisely, give you the edge not over anyone else, but over yourself. They help you master the impulses, the doubts, and the fears that once held you back. This silence is your proving ground. And with these techniques, you're not just enduring it, you're using it to transform. You're no longer a person waiting to be chosen, hoping for validation. You're becoming a force to be reckoned with, a person who stands strong, regardless of anyone's presence or absence. You've come a long way already. You're strengthening your mind, reinforcing your boundaries, and reclaiming your power. Now, it's time to channel all that inner strength into mindfulness and reflection. These exercises will help you turn your attention inward, to understand yourself on a deeper level, and to connect with your own mind and spirit in ways you may not have before. In a period of no contact, your mind is often flooded with thoughts, some wanted, some not. Mindfulness allows you to observe these thoughts without judgment, to see them, acknowledge them, and let them go without letting them take control. Let's start with mindful observation. Each day, set aside 5 to 10 minutes where you can sit quietly and let your thoughts arise naturally. Don't try to force them away, and don't cling to them. Instead, picture each thought as a cloud passing in the sky. Some clouds are dark, heavy, and full of emotion. Others are light, almost transparent. But all of them, eventually, pass by. As each thought comes up, whether it's about the person, the silence, or any fear, observe it without judgment. You're not your thoughts. You're the observer of your thoughts. This practice teaches you that you don't have to act on every thought that arises. Not every thought deserves your energy. By becoming the observer, you reclaim your power over your mind. Next, let's practice grounding through breath. This is a simple but powerful exercise. When you feel anxiety creeping in, or when that urge to reach out becomes overwhelming, pause. Take a deep breath, filling your lungs fully, and then exhale slowly. Focus on the sensation of your breath, the coolness as it enters your nostrils, the warmth as it leaves. Breathing exercises like this anchor you in the present moment. They remind you that no matter what's going on in your mind, your breath is always there, grounding you, bringing you back to yourself. Each time you feel the pull of impulse, return to your breath. It's a safe space within you, a reminder that you are always in control. Now, let's go deeper with self-reflective journaling. Each evening, take 10 to 15 minutes to journal about your feelings. Write about the day, about any moments of temptation, or any breakthroughs. Be honest with yourself, but don't judge yourself. This is a space for your raw thoughts, your fears, your hopes. Start by asking yourself these questions. What did I learn about myself today? Where did I feel the most challenged? What did I discover about my own strength? By putting your thoughts on paper, you're not only releasing them from your mind, but you're also creating a record of your journey. Over time, you'll see the growth, the progress, and the transformation you're undergoing. There's something powerful about seeing your own resilience documented in writing. Each entry is a testament to your strength, and on days when you feel weak, you can look back and remind yourself of how far you've come, of the battles you've already fought and won. Let's move to a powerful visualization exercise, future self-visualization. This isn't about focusing on the past or even the present. It's about looking forward. Close your eyes and imagine yourself 6 months from now. Picture yourself standing tall, self-assured, radiating confidence. See yourself as someone who has fully embraced their worth, someone who is no longer waiting for anyone to validate them. Visualize every detail, how you feel, how you carry yourself, the peace that emanates from within you. This future self doesn't look back with regret or longing. They look forward with strength and purpose. The more vividly you can picture this future version of yourself, the more you start to embody that energy right now. Every day, in small ways, you're becoming that person. This visualization is a reminder of what you're working towards, of the version of you that this no-contact period is helping to create. Hold on to that vision. Let it guide you through the difficult moments as a beacon of what's possible. Another essential exercise is forgiveness meditation. Now, you may feel resistance here, especially if you're harboring pain or resentment. But forgiveness meditation is not about excusing anyone's behavior. It's about releasing yourself from the weight of carrying anger, or regret. This practice is a gift to yourself, a way to free yourself from the chains of the past. Sit comfortably and bring to mind any lingering pain, any feelings of resentment or hurt. With each breath, imagine yourself releasing that pain, letting it go piece by piece. Say to yourself, I release this hurt. I forgive, not for them, but for myself. Visualize the weight lifting from your heart, your body becoming lighter, more at peace. You're not condoning anyone's actions. You're simply choosing freedom over holding on. Forgiveness meditation allows you to clear emotional space within yourself, to make room for healing and growth. And over time, as you practice this release, you'll find a profound sense of peace filling that space. Finally, let's end with a gratitude practice. This may sound simple, but gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Each morning, as soon as you wake up, think of 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things, just anything that brings you a moment of joy or peace. It could be as simple as the warmth of your bed, the morning light, or even your own strength in facing this journey. Gratitude redirects your focus from what you lack to what you have. It reminds you that even in times of challenge, there is beauty, there is strength, and there is resilience within you. The more you practice gratitude, the more you start to see your own life in a new light. You realize that you're not missing anything, that everything you need is already within you. So let these practices, mindful observation, grounding through breath, self-reflective journaling, future self-visualization, forgiveness meditation, and gratitude, become part of your daily routine. Each one is a tool, a way to reclaim your mind, to strengthen your spirit, and to deepen your relationship with yourself. This no-contact period is a gift, a rare opportunity to connect with the parts of yourself that you may have overlooked. It's not just a time of waiting, it's a time of awakening. With each of these practices, you're not just filling the silence, you're transforming within it. And remember, each day you spend in mindfulness, each moment you dedicate to self-reflection, is a step closer to becoming the person you've always been capable of becoming. A person who is whole, complete, and unbreakable. You've already done the hardest part. You've learned to sit in silence, to endure, to grow stronger. But now, it's time to take the next step. This is about reclaiming your self-worth, rediscovering who you are without anyone else's influence, and building an identity that is resilient, powerful, and fully yours. In relationships, it's easy to lose sight of who we are, to become intertwined in someone else's world, in their opinions, their views, their approval. But right now, you're in a rare and precious space, the space to remember, or even redefine, your identity. This period of no contact isn't just a waiting room. It's a stage for you to rebuild, to become the most authentic version of yourself. Start by asking yourself, who am I outside of this relationship? This may feel like a simple question, but when you dig deep, you'll find layers, parts of yourself that may have been hidden, neglected, or forgotten. Think about your passions, your dreams, your quirks. Who were you before? Who do you want to become? Take time to reconnect with the things you love. Maybe you loved art or music or writing, but you put it aside. Perhaps you were passionate about learning, travel, adventure, but those passions got dimmed. Now is the time to bring them back. Dive into these parts of yourself that make you feel alive. Because each time you reconnect with what makes you you, you're reclaiming a piece of your identity, piece by piece, like a puzzle coming together. One powerful exercise to rebuild self-worth is to create a self-celebration journal. Every day, write down at least one thing you're proud of, one small accomplishment, one thing you admire about yourself, one way you showed strength. These don't have to be grand achievements. It could be as simple as choosing to breathe through a difficult moment instead of acting impulsively, or having the courage to sit with your thoughts without reaching out. As you fill this journal, you'll see tangible proof of your resilience. You'll see that you're capable, worthy, and strong. This is a journey of falling in love with yourself again, of appreciating all that you are. The more you celebrate yourself, the more your self-worth grows, and the less you depend on anyone else's validation. Let's talk about self-respect. Respecting yourself means setting boundaries, honoring your needs, and refusing to settle for anything less than what you deserve. When we're in the grips of longing or loneliness, it's easy to lower our standards, to let our self-respect slip, just to get a taste of comfort or closeness. But real strength, real growth, means refusing to accept crumbs when you know you deserve the whole meal. Picture your future self as someone who never compromises on their values, someone who honors their needs and walks away from anything or anyone who doesn't align with them. Self-respect isn't just a mindset, it's a practice. It's choosing to show up for yourself, to treat yourself with the same love, respect, and care that you'd want from others. To help strengthen this self-respect, create a list of non-negotiables. These are the values, qualities, and boundaries that you will no longer compromise on. Write down the kind of love you deserve, the level of respect you expect, and the way you want to be treated. This isn't a list to share with anyone. It's for you. It's a reminder of what you're worthy of, and it's a standard that you'll hold yourself to, regardless of anyone else's actions. This exercise reinforces that your self-worth isn't up for negotiation. You're setting the foundation for relationships that honor who you are, relationships where you don't have to question your value, because you've already decided it. You're already choosing it for yourself. Another part of rebuilding self-worth is embracing your independence. Independence doesn't mean closing yourself off or never caring for anyone again. It's about realizing that you are enough, all on your own. You're capable of finding joy, peace, and fulfillment within yourself. You don't need someone else to complete you, because you are already whole. Think of independence as a kind of armor, a way to protect your peace, your happiness, from anyone who might come and go in your life. Independence is knowing that your worth, your value, doesn't fluctuate based on someone else's presence. You are valuable simply because you exist. The more you embrace this truth, the more powerful, the more grounded you become. Here's an exercise to reinforce your independence. Make a list of things that bring you joy, things that fill you with a sense of peace or excitement, things that have nothing to do with anyone else. It could be hobbies, activities, dreams, or simple pleasures. Commit to doing at least one of these things each day, as a reminder that your happiness isn't dependent on anyone's presence or absence. You're creating a life that is rich and fulfilling, no matter who walks in or out of it. You're building a sanctuary within yourself, a place that no one can touch, a place that is yours alone. This is your foundation. It's what will carry you through any storm, any silence, any challenge. Let's talk about self-acceptance. Self-acceptance means embracing all parts of yourself, the light and the dark, the strong and the vulnerable. It means knowing that you are enough exactly as you are. You don't need to change, hide, or prove yourself to be worthy of love. You already are. When we struggle with self-worth, we often feel the need to change, to mold ourselves into something better, something more lovable. But true self-worth isn't about changing yourself. It's about loving yourself exactly as you are. Self-acceptance is looking at yourself, flaws and all, and saying, I am enough. It's knowing that you deserve love, respect, and happiness, simply because you are here. Practice self-acceptance by doing mirror affirmations. Each morning, stand in front of a mirror, look into your own eyes, and say something kind to yourself. It might feel awkward at first, but this practice builds self-compassion. Say, I am enough. I am worthy. I am proud of who I am. Over time, these affirmations start to sink in. You start to believe them, and they become a part of who you are. Lastly, let's talk about embracing a new identity. Think about who you want to become, not just in the context of this relationship, but in your life as a whole. Picture yourself as someone who is powerful, confident, and independent. Someone who knows their worth and doesn't compromise it for anyone. Write down the qualities of this new identity. What does this version of you look like? How do they think, feel, and act? How do they respond to challenges? This is your blueprint, your vision for the person you're growing into. Every day, make choices that align with this new identity. It doesn't have to be grand gestures. Even small actions count. When you choose to respect yourself, when you choose to focus on your growth, you're stepping closer to this new identity. You're becoming this stronger, wiser, more resilient version of yourself, one decision at a time. Remember, rebuilding self-worth and identity isn't about filling a void left by someone else. It's about realizing there was never a void to begin with. It's about seeing that you are whole, that you are complete, and that you are worthy of love and respect from yourself, first and foremost. This journey isn't just about enduring no contact. It's about emerging from it transformed. You're creating a version of yourself that stands on solid ground, a version that doesn't depend on anyone's presence or absence for validation. You are enough, just as you are. And as you walk this path of self-discovery, of rebuilding, of embracing who you are, you're becoming unstoppable. You're no longer a person waiting for love or approval. You're becoming someone who loves and respects themselves deeply, profoundly, and unconditionally. Hold on to this journey. Embrace it fully, because the version of you that's emerging from this is stronger, wiser, and more powerful than you've ever been. You've been through a journey that many people fear, resist, or avoid. But you faced it head on. You chose to use this time of silence not as a period of waiting, but as a space for transformation, for reclaiming your power, and for rebuilding yourself from the inside out. And that takes courage. This no-contact period wasn't just about someone else. It was about you. It was about shedding the layers of dependency, of self-doubt, of fear, and becoming someone who stands solidly on their own 2 feet. Someone who is whole, complete, and unbreakable. Every moment of self-reflection, every exercise, every choice you made, not to reach out, but to go within, it all brought you here, to this new chapter. You are not the person you were when this journey began. You've grown. You've become wiser, more resilient, more self-aware. And now, as you step into this new chapter, you're carrying with you a newfound sense of strength, a deeper sense of self-worth, and an unshakable identity. Moving forward, remember that everything you need is within you. You don't need validation from anyone. You don't need approval or reassurance. You are already enough. You've built a foundation within yourself that no one can take away. This journey taught you that your worth doesn't depend on anyone else's actions. And that's a lesson that will serve you for the rest of your life. Life will always bring challenges, uncertainties, and moments of solitude. But you've proven to yourself that you can handle it. You can walk through the fire and come out stronger, clearer, and more empowered. This period of no contact was your crucible, a test that shaped you into someone who doesn't just survive, but thrives in their own company, in their own strength. So, as you continue forward, hold on to everything you've learned here. Remember the power of silence, the resilience of Stoicism, the mental fortitude of dark psychology. Remember that your self-worth is non-negotiable, that your identity is yours alone, and that you are complete, exactly as you are. You've embraced your past, you've honored your pain, and now you're ready to step into a future that you create on your own terms. A future where you're no longer waiting for anyone to complete you, because you've discovered that you are whole all along. This new chapter isn't just about moving on, it's about moving forward. moving forward as a person who knows their value, who respects themselves deeply, and who embraces life with a sense of purpose, peace, and resilience. Remember, you are a force. You are a person who chose to turn silence into strength, who transformed waiting into growth. And as you step into this new chapter, know that you are walking forward, not as someone who needs, but as someone who chooses themselves. Embrace this new chapter with open arms, with a steady heart, and with an unbreakable spirit. Because this is just the beginning of a life built on strength, on self-respect, and on a love for yourself that no one can take away. Go forward with pride, go forward with peace, and go forward with the quiet, powerful knowing that you are enough, just as you are. Before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to thank you. Thank you for listening, for being here, and for choosing to invest in yourself. This journey hasn't been easy, and it takes real courage to face the silence, to confront your own mind, and to rebuild from within. You're here, putting yourself first, and that alone speaks volumes about your strength and resilience. Every moment you chose growth over comfort. Every time you looked within, instead of reaching out, you were reclaiming your power. And I want you to know that this commitment to yourself is the most profound act of self-respect and love. As you move forward, remember, you come first.